Hello, Assalamualaikum, and a very good evening, everyone. First of all, let me introduce myself. I am Muhammad Rai Ijaz bin Mokhtar, a third-year student of the Language Centre from National Defence University of Malaysia. This is my first experience joining this kind of conference. I would like to say thank you for this opportunity. Today, I will be presenting my final year project, which is research on racism awareness and experiences among nurses in a Malaysian government hospital. This project is a collaboration work between me and my supervisor, Dr. Nuashikin Sahul Hamid. Thanks to her, this research are ready to be presented. This presentation slide will containing 8 sections, which are introduction, problem statement, research objective, literature review, research method, analysis and results, discussion, and lastly, the conclusion. First of all, we will go through the introduction part. Before we start, we should be familiar with several crucial terms. First of all, racism. Racism is a type of prejudice towards certain groups of people that belong to a particular race and background, and also distinguishing traits. It is referred to the superior feeling of a race where they think and feels they are the main character while others are not equal to them. The next crucial term that we should be aware of is discrimination. The term discrimination itself describes how various ethnic, religious, national or other groups are treated differently. Discrimination is an action or practice that excludes, disadvantages or merely differentiates between individuals or group of individuals on the basis of some ascribed or perceived trait. Discrimination can come in different forms. First is unfair treatment. Second is harassment. Third, refusal. Next is improper inquiries. And last but not least is the retaliation. These crucial terms are linked with each other, where they are combining and become a new problem that had affected the medical field years and years, especially in Malaysian government hospital. The problem that has been arising is discrimination in the workplace. Discrimination in the workplace refers to any act of a person based on their race, color, religion, sex, national origin, age, physical or mental handicap. In other words, their demographic background were being judged by others, resulting within their work performance and daily life. The next part of the slide will talk about the research objective, where the main goal of the research is to identify the level of racism awareness among nurses and to investigate nurses' experiences as victims of racism. Next, we will go through the problem statement. According to Dr. Vikeshwaran, back in 2019, he stated that toxic workplace is the major factors that made the medical staff feel so stressed out. Additionally, he exposed that gender and racial discrimination are prevalent in government hospital. Furthermore, according to the former Health Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Subramaniam in 2013, he stated that poor communication skill had been identified as one of the key factors that led to racism claims and reports in a certain hospital and healthcare organization. For literature review, we are using several definitions and research done by the previous researchers like Pascoe and Smart 2009, Lin and Sheriff 2015. Last but not least, Williams and Cooper 2019. And for research methodology, this is a case study comprising of a semi-structured, in-depth interview of two medical staff at a local hospital in Malaysia. The interview were recorded and transcribed verbatim. The data were analyzed thematically.
For the results and analysis, we have two respondents where the first respondent has 5 years of experience in the medical field and the second respondent had 12 years of experience in the medical field. Both are from the same local hospital that we interviewed our respondents in. The first respondent understood the definition of racism and discrimination. Her thoughts about it was that it's something that exists in a multiracial environment setting, and her earliest memory of racism or discrimination was during secondary school. The respondent also commented that because she is Chinese, she often sees that most of the Malays who failed exam can still get scholarships and pursue their studies in a foreign country like UK and etc. She also thinks that racism and discrimination is something that everyone is well aware of, and that it is something that people would easily understand and know that is happening if it does. When the second respondent was asked if she had ever become a victim of racism or discrimination in the hospital, she answered not directly. She has also never faced a situation where people, whether colleague, superior, supervisor or patient, did something that was considered as racist or discriminating. When asked about a situation whether she has rejected a person because of their race or background or anything different about them, she answered that she does not judge people by their race or background, but rather their attitude. And she could get pretty angry if she ever sees anybody that did or say something that is considered racist or discriminating. In any case of racism or discriminating issues in the hospital, she would usually report it to the management. And that's usually the practice of the staff in the hospital. But however, the management usually takes it as a minor case. She also thinks that one way of stopping or ending racism is to stop them by telling them to stop their actions directly and saying it verbally. When asked about her perspective on what the management could do to end racism and discriminating issues in the hospital effectively, is to dismiss the staff that actually does the wrongdoing. The second respondent also mentioned that she understood the terms of racism or discrimination, and her thoughts about the two terms is that these are something that should be stopped. Her earliest memory of becoming aware of racism and discrimination is when she was watching a documentary about apartheid during secondary school. When asked about privileges, discrimination, racism, and if there is any unfair treatment at the workplace, the respondent answered that people are evaluated fairly based on their performance at work. When asked about if the respondent has ever been a victim of racism, discrimination, and etc. in the hospital, the respondent answered not directly. Some of the patients are requesting for treatment who are the same race as the patient. And the respondent heard something about some departments being biased to their staff due to race. When asked if the respondent has ever seen any acts of racism and discrimination at the workplace, the respondent said yes. Some foul names were called to certain staff because of his or her race. These are just some of the results of our rich data. In conclusion, racism and discrimination is present among staff in local Malaysian hospitals. Although people are aware of it happening and report the incidents, the hospital management seem to take it lightly. Despite the fact that Malaysia has made much effort to promote harmony, unfortunately, racism and racial discrimination remain a persistent reality in Malaysian society. This fact must be acknowledged as a starting point to effectively address racism and racial discrimination. That is all for our presentation today. Thank you.